Obesity affects nearly 1 in 5 children in the U.S. today and can lead to some traditionally adult conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol, type 2 diabetes, anxiety, depression, joint problems, all kinds of things that we just don't want our children experiencing. But there are ways that parents can kind of take charge and help our children live healthier by making sure that they get the nutrients they need in not only their meals at home, but also what they're eating at school and when they're out with friends. So today, I'm joined by Dr. Anna Robertson. She's one of the pediatricians here at Enloe Medical Center, and registered dietitian Kandis Glaziner. So thank you so much, both of you, for being here. I'm Deanna Squires, Enloe's Community Outreach Coordinator, and today we're going to be talking about how to build healthier school lunches and tips to make sure our kids actually eat them.
Very important.
Yes, very important, minor detail. So just a couple quick reminders. Number one, we want to make sure that, to remind you, this is not medical information. We're going to be talking about some great information, great nutrition tips, ways that we can lower our children's risk of certain diseases. But if you have specific questions, you do want to talk to your primary care physician or other healthcare professionals for specific advices about your children's health specifically. And then also we want to encourage you to post your questions or comments in the comments field. We will be posting things as we're going today, so you can read along and refer back. But if you have questions, go ahead and write them in. We'll be watching for those, and we'll try to answer as many as we can throughout our time together. All right, so with that, let's get started.
Let's do it.
All right, so Dr. Robertson, why is it so important for kids to have good, healthy, balanced nutrition, especially in their lunches?
Well, the earlier we start with introducing a wide variety of flavors and nutritious items in their childhood, the earlier we start in their childhood, the better their choices will be as they grow into adults, because that's when they'll be on their own. So when we start introducing food at 6 months of age, we also are introducing, we're building their palate. So when we introduce foods like green beans and pureed spinach and all those things, that we're actually shaping their palate to enjoy those foods. So when we invest our time and hard-earned money into building their lunches and our patience and getting them to eat them, we're really investing into their future so that they can lead healthy, happy lives.
Right, making those healthy habits so those become the things they choose when it's in their power
when
to do
they're
so.
on their own, which is the goal.
Right, exactly. So if they aren't eating healthy, balanced lunches, what are some of the negative effects? We mentioned some of the diseases, but why are we seeing more of that today in children?
Well, one of the most immediate effects that we see with a really a poor breakfast and poor lunch is school performance. Children who don't eat a well-balanced meal or a very unhealthy meal with like a lot of highly sugary snacks and lots of fats and salt and sugar, they tend to have poor school performance and behavior issues, gastrointestinal issues that are immediate, so for anything from stomach pain to constipation to just general gastrointestinal distress. But you can see those immediately, like in the school, in the classroom. And then the long-term effects, they eventually learn to like those unhealthy flavors, and they will choose them. So the goal is to have them choose the healthy stuff so that they can eventually not have those issues in school and the long-term problems.
You touched on their performance at school too. If they're eating like high carb or high sugar things, and they're going to have those really high highs and then crash down, and then they're not focusing.
Hungry again, they're
right.
cranky, they don't want to behave, they don't want to listen to the teacher. Then,
it's a vicious circle.
It's a vicious circle that will just keep going, and then they'll want to be they'll be hungry, they'll want to eat some more, they'll reach for like the potato chips or the goldfish crackers, which are really good,
but really bad.
in large amounts. So, and then it will start all over again. So, and then I'm sure you'll tell us all about how to make and build a nice healthy lunch.
We're going to talk about that. So actually, we can just jump right to there, might as well.
All right.
So we know that it's important to have that balanced lunch, but what should we put in? We've got this nice little display. You brought some pretty vegetables and fruits to kind of get us started.
Yeah. Main thing is when you're building the lunch, you want it to be appealing to your child. So some kids might not like bell pepper. So what, kind of search for some vegetables that they do like. So if it's making a list of, okay, this is what I'll eat if you pack this in my lunch. Also getting variety and making sure that they have a fruit, a vegetable, some protein at each one of their lunches. And good way to do that is just involving the kids. So if it's taking them to the grocery store with you, or if you are able to do your own garden and have them help plant different vegetables and fruit, and then they can go out and pick, if they want a couple of cherry tomatoes, they can pick those and put it in their lunch so they can see it from seed till they put it in their mouth.
That's what I do for my lunch. I love picking the cherry tomatoes. See, it's just a grown-up version of making a healthy lunch.
Yeah. And then, just having them even help preparing. So cutting vegetables, cutting fruit, or making their sandwiches and picking what they want on there. And it's okay if your child eats a turkey sandwich 3 days in a row, as long as you're trying to incorporate those vegetables maybe with their dinner or having vegetables as snacks. As long as throughout the entire day they get variety, that's what we're hoping for. It doesn't necessarily have to be at every meal, because eating vegetable for breakfast can be a challenge. So as long as we can incorporate it other times of the day.
And I like what you said about getting them involved in choosing and actually preparing it. One of the things we want to talk about is how to help parents from a time-saving perspective. So there's a lot of prep work that can be done ahead of time.
Yep. So if you have time on the weekend or a weeknight that's a little bit, you have more time, you could cut up a whole bunch of vegetables that can be pre-put in bags or containers for 3 or 4 days. And so that morning or the night before, you can have the kid help pack their lunch and just go in the refrigerator, grab those items and put it in their cute little or cool lunch boxes. And that would be help with time saving. Or if your child likes pasta dishes, you could do whole grain pasta, make a big batch of that, and then just put it in containers that morning or the night before.
Right, I think.
Let's not forget the crock pot.
Yes.
You can make a whole meal for the week for everyone.
Yes.
Right. I love that. When we start coming into fall and you can make the stews and the soups and things, and you can put all the good nutrients in those, and then put in a little thermos. So you don't have to have just a lunch meat or a turkey sandwich or whatever. There's so many possibilities. Yeah. So with the balance, you touched on the protein and the fruits and veggies. So let's talk a little bit more about that. What are the different things that we should try to get into the lunches? And if parents aren't sure, like we talked about the myplate.gov, I think. So how can we use those resources to help structure these lunches and put together those choices?
So one of the major things that we definitely need in our kids' lunches and our own lunches too, we need the fruits and vegetables, very important. We do need the hard carbohydrates. They're very important. There are people out there who are like anti-carbohydrate, but your brain needs them, and the kid's brain, which is moving at a mile a minute, definitely needs it. But we also need the protein sources. Any kind of protein source that the child likes, be it beans, lentils, and egg. If the kid likes eggs, give him hard-boiled eggs to take to school. He can peel it on his own or whatever.
Or pre-peel it, just put it in a baggie or something.
So protein source is really important because it's a gradual form of energy. It's a slow release, and it helps with long-term satiety. So if you eat a bunch of carbohydrates without any protein, you have that spike in the glycemic index. So you get that sugar rush, and then you crash. And then you don't feel really good after that. You're hungry again, but you're not sure why because you just ate. But the protein, if you eat protein with your meal, you have that satiety for a longer period of time. So by the time you pick them up from school, they're not voraciously hungry, eating snacks off the floor in the car.
That's not helping.
The things that the toddler drops.
Right. We've all been there. Yeah, but getting that sustained feeling of fullness and energy is so important.
So because we definitely need the protein in there, and I know there are a lot of kids who are very picky with protein. They don't want chicken, they don't want beef, but there's other actually vegetable-based proteins like tofu, right? Lentils, beans.
So they could, put have veggies with hummus, or
So good.
you know, you could roast garbanzo beans and put little seasonings on there, and they could snack on those. And
Edamame. Is edamame a protein? That's a
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. Right.
That's
Those
yep.
were two for
I know a lot of kids who really like that, and I wouldn't have ever thought before to put that in a lunch, but that could be fun because it's fun to peel and eat.
It's engaging.
Yeah,
it
You have to
is.
peel
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it gets them involved.
Mhm.
Yeah. So as far as why it's so important, so the protein we talked about how that's the sustained energy versus the carbohydrates, but from the actual health aspect, is there anything that we should talk about that, you know, why that's so important? You know, we mentioned the heart disease and the diabetes and joint problems. How does nutrition help to support or prevent some of those that we're seeing in children these days?
Oh, well, that's a very broad question.
I know, I'm sorry, just
That's
came
okay.
to me.
That's okay. Well, you know, when you have a healthy lunch in front of you and the child is hungry, he will eat that healthy lunch, and it displaces the space that would have been taken up by more unhealthy things. So that's really the goal, is so they don't go for that unhealthy stuff. And I'm sure schools that we have I think we should at least, all schools should have a rule of no trading during lunchtime, so that you know when your kid is leaving your car with their lunchbox, what is in their lunchbox they will actually eat, and what they don't. But they don't have an opportunity to trade, because, I mean, who wouldn't want to trade their carrots for Cheetos?
Yeah.
I mean, not
It's
that
still
I
hard.
would, some kids would. So,
I think that'd be so hard to monitor though in the lunchroom, but you know, if we have the kids pack their own lunch, so you know it's things they like,
right.
you would hope that they'd be less likely to do that trade and bartering.
And the greatest thing about any kind of if you're building your lunch, having the kids involved, but also have a variety. You know, have them try a new vegetable every week, and really their choices start in the supermarket. Go to the produce section, not the snack section, the produce section, and have them choose a vegetable or fruit that they want. Like, it could be some weird dragon fruit that they've never seen before. It's wild looking, it tastes great, it's super bright color.
Is that the prickly one?
The prickly one. Yeah, it's super cool, and if that's what they choose, then so be it. Like, it'll exercise their independence and teach them how to make choices on their own. So,
Super important. And there are so many random, like the star fruits. And
the star fruit is super tasty. Yeah,
it's cute. It's
Yeah.
cute. All right. So we've talked about this in other Facebook Lives we've had, but juice boxes and juices. Who wants to talk about juice boxes?
Do you want to take those?
Well, so every kid loves juice, and it's, you know, if you can limit it, or at least choose 100% juice, and just make sure, you know, there is recommendation of how much, so they really shouldn't be getting more than one juice box a day. But replacing that juice box with
Fruit.
instead of fruit, you're going to be missing out on the fiber, which can help with their GI tract, and then also some other vitamins and minerals that you can get from whole fruit instead of the juice. So if your kid is adamant about getting their juice box, then at least get the 100% juice, so you're not adding extra sugar or calories. You can even dilute it do half water, half juice, to help not give them as much sugar. And be careful to not get the pre-diluted juices, because they are going to be higher in sugar and more calories. So if you can do it yourself.
Didn't even know that was a thing.
I didn't know that.
So whole fruit is best, but you know, every kid does love apple juice every once in a while, and so if you at least can make a healthier choice with that and limit their amount.
Yeah, I remember the American Academy of Pediatrics a while ago had recommended juice for all kids on a daily basis because it was a great source of vitamins. But we've backpedaled that recommendations just recently, and we've decided that it is not a great idea for children to be drinking their calories. We prefer them to eat them. So if the child is choosing to drink, whether we want between drinking the apple juice versus eating an actual apple, we prefer that the child eats the apple, because there's so many other things that go along with it. And regarding vitamins, you could get plenty of vitamins from a few bites of apple versus the So we prefer that you drink your water and eat your calories.
Yeah.
Now you brought one of these little things, so the applesauce, which is a great grab and go kind of treat. But what's unique about this one is it's unsweetened.
Yep.
So kind of maybe a happy in between. But you want to talk a little bit more about the importance of that, or?
Yeah, so if you're gonna get the, say if you have been getting your child the sweetened applesauce, then what you could do is maybe do half and half so they don't notice such a change. But after a while, when getting this unsweetened, they won't notice that difference as much. Yes, first it might taste different, but the unsweetened applesauce, you're gonna be getting less sugar, less calories, and so they're not gonna be getting those non-beneficial calories in the spikes.
And do they still get the fiber then with
Oh, yeah.
that, like closer to the whole food?
Right. Yeah. And when you introduce less sugary, less salty items when they're first growing up, their palate doesn't get used to the highly sugared things. So some kids who never grow up with sweets, they just eat, the fruits and vegetables, and then they suddenly taste something that's really sweet. They have this face on them like, oh my gosh, what was that? And the kids who've grown up eating sweets, it's just nothing for them.
Yeah.
They're totally fine handling that. So it's better to have unsweetened things and then water instead of juice.
And have that be just the treat rather than the norm.
Right.
I don't remember if it was when we were talking earlier this week that sugar is very addictive. Your body just craves it. It's, like any other drug or what have you.
Yeah, they did a rat experiment on rats. And there was an illicit drug, I'm not going to say it because I don't want to say
Just bad stuff.
Just bad stuff. But the rats were found to be going more for the sugar rather than the highly addictive illicit substance. So that says something.
Yeah.
So sugar is a very addictive substance.
Yeah, we don't want to get our kids hooked on that from the very beginning.
Right.
Before we're developing all these more healthy habits.
Yes.
So we're getting close to the end of our time. Is there anything else that either of you would like to make sure that we leave our audience with to help them and guide them and encourage them? And sometimes no matter what we as parents do, we're still going to fall short and the kids are going to come home and say, oh, I traded. So not get discouraged, but keep trying.
Just keep trying. There's no such thing as a perfect parent. Every parent will mess something up, and it's totally fine because
We're human.
We're human, and we all turned out just fine. Just do your best. It's really an investment in the future. So, just be patient and give your kid choices at the supermarket and in the kitchen, and have them involved in the mealtime. And also, there has to be at least one meal a day where the family comes together, sits down without any electronic devices, so they can sit together and enjoy a meal, because that really establishes good eating habits also.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and like she mentioned, just giving the kid variety, including them in those in choices for what they would want, and be an example yourself too. If you're not a big vegetable eater, try something new yourself. Or Chico has a great farmer's market. Take them there, have them explore and pick out something new. But just really involving them and creating variety and just
I love what you said about setting the example.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. We come home, we're rushing from work, and we're hungry, and we pour ourselves a soda or an adult beverage, and then we have some kind of snack that we're snacking on while we're eating. That's not going to work. We have to model the behavior, so not only are we helping to make sure our kids are healthier, but then we're healthier as well. So I love that point. All right. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope that you learned some little tips that you can use while you're building your own better lunches at home. And next month, we're going to be celebrating Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Our guests will be talking about the correlation between breast cancer and obesity, so more on nutrition and healthy, balanced diets and things, and how that can really have far-reaching effects. So we hope to see you then. And in the meantime, eat healthy, have a great life, and a great day. Bye-bye.